I'll go real quick. We don't have to be as long as we were last time, but yeah, I find it kind of funny that, like, man, here we are a little over a month later. We're still kind of in the same thing and having to do this over the computer again. Just how's quarantine life treating you?
Same old, same old. Taking it day by day. Um, I think it's becoming a little more normal for people. People are figuring out routines. That's kind of how I am too. Just trying to figure out my routine during this time and see when things get back to regular.
I think we spoken. I don't know where you are right now. Last time you were in Florida, you're still trying to find ways to train. Has it disrupted much of what you do?
Yeah, I mean, it has for sure. Just having to make those adjustments to train how I want to train and do what I need to do. It's definitely trying to make those adjustments, but it's part of it. Everybody's adjusting in some way, but it's definitely been a little difficult.
Yeah, for sure. I know when we spoke a little over a month ago, a lot has changed since then. I mean, we were talking right after your brand new contract. It was the plus side, but on the negative side, of course, you're losing a teammate like DeForest Buckner. But then you've got the NFL schedules come out. You've got the draft. I guess I kind of wanted to start there. I mean, when I know fans get so excited when the schedule comes out because now you know the path you guys have to take to get back to an NFC championship and a Super Bowl appearance. What is it as a player who's got so many years under your belt now as an NFL player? What do you look at when the schedule comes out? How does that affect you when it comes out?
Oh yeah, definitely looking at the matchups. Then looking at that week one, who we're going to be facing in the first game, and then not much too more, much beyond that. Looking, when those, of course, looking at those division games and when those are kind of placed and when the bye week is, but beyond that, just probably the just looking at that first game and then looking at some of the matchups, but I don't get into it too much. We're still a long ways away from there. Training camp and starting that journey. So right after training camp, that's when I started looking at the schedule, a lot more.
Especially for there's a human element. You guys have a family, and people want to make arrangements, and we don't know really what football is going to look like in 2020. Is that kind of disrupted anything when you guys are trying to make travel plans and all that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody's trying to figure out those games they want to go to and all that, but like you said, it's all up in the air right now. So it's kind of hard to make those plans and get those schedules set. My fiance's family's from the Buffalo area, so we play the Bills. I think a Monday night game, so I know they're going to try to come for that, but really can't plan for that right now. So yeah, just see what happens.
Yeah, it's cool to see. You guys are going to play in New England this year. I know it'll be Jimmy Garoppolo's first return to visit his former team in the Boston area. And I was wondering, after all these years, is there a place you still haven't been? Is there a place you still want to play at? And do you have a favorite spot on the road?
I haven't played in New England yet, so that's going to be fun. Trying to think where else I haven't played. I know New England for sure, and I think I crossed a couple off this year when we played at Cincinnati. I hadn't played there. Hadn't played in Baltimore. That was my first time playing there. So I think I touched almost everywhere so far. I've been very few, but New England's still on the list, so I'll be able to knock that out this year.
I mean, I was thinking too in terms of the draft. I mean, we talked about what it meant to lose to DeForest Buckner. I think it may have still been a little bit fresh at that moment, but here you are. You've got a brand new addition to that line, and you got Javon Kinlaw. I know a lot of people are really excited about him. What makes you excited about him possibly filling those shoes, which can't be easy to fill?
Yeah, I mean, they're completely different players. Defoe, was year 4, going on year 5. Kinlaw is going to be a rookie, so I don't feel those expectations are fair. But I think he's a talented player from what I've seen. Plays hard. He's big, strong, fast. I think he's going to bring a lot to our team, and I'm excited about him coming in and starting that journey together, playing alongside one another. Getting to build that continuity moving forward.
Buckner was one of those guys that came a year after you, and you guys have always made young additions to that line. Last year it was Nick Bosa, and now it'll be Kinlaw. As someone who's been in their shoes before, how difficult is a rookie season to have a season like Bosa did last year with the benefit of having guys like yourself and DeForest Buckner? That's such a rare circumstance. Does that help Kinlaw in the first year going forward, or because of all this quarantine? I mean, Deebo Samuel was saying yesterday that he wants to help mentor Brandon Ayuk because he just went through this circumstance last year, but the quarantine kind of puts everything behind. He had the benefit of being around coaches and everything, and Brandon won't really have that opportunity, and I would imagine Javon won't either.
Yeah, I mean, we all have similar experiences. We have a bunch of first round picks, so we know what that life is like. Expectations and all that. And so I think we can help in that aspect of, bringing him along and showing him, how we work and, how we've been successful in the past. And hopefully he can take some of that and add it to his career moving forward. So, yeah, I think we can definitely help in that aspect. And, in the football side of things too, just being around, all of us making each other better, learning from each other and building that continuity. So, I think it's going to be great for us.
And for you, what was your reaction when you guys landed Trent Williams? I mean, that to me blew me away. And I know you go up against a ton of really talented offensive linemen. Do they get more talented than him?
No, they don't. He was, before he dealt with some medical things. I mean, those years, he was arguably, or if not the, best left tackle in the game. So to add him, that was a shocker and, great move for sure, especially, with Joe deciding to hang him up. So, I was super excited and happy that we were able to get that done. I think we got a lot better, over the course of the draft and free agency and, after the draft with trades and things like that. So I've been happy with, what John and Kyle and the rest of the group, the decisions they're making.
Yeah, and you mentioned Joe Staley. I mean, obviously his retirement took some people by surprise. Probably, I know what he meant to the organization. For you on the defensive side, and what are some of the things you learned from him, and things you'll always remember about what he meant as to you individually?
Yeah, just bringing that consistency to what you do, bringing that being a cornerstone organization. That's a tough thing to do. It's expected day in and day out. You just that's something that respect and is earned over long periods of times, and just being a consistent great player. I think that's something we all strive for year in and year out, to be consistent, and that's something to be said when your coaches and organization know what they're going to get out of you year to year and game to game. So I think that's definitely the greatest thing I learned from him.
That's well said. I appreciate you sharing that. Moving over to some of the stuff you're doing here, it seems like every time I'm talking to you, you're doing something great in this community in the Sacramento area, your hometown, which means so much to you. And you've got another donation. I know how much education means to you. I saw that you were having Wi-Fi setups in various areas for people to have internet access during this quarantine. And distance learning is something that's very brand new to a lot of students. I was seeing down the road in Elk Grove, where you know very well, there's so many high schools out here, and they're all having to graduate differently, and the cap and gown experience is a little bit different than what you went through. Just kind of take us through what you've seen. I know you've done a lot of stuff on Zoom meetings, popping in on classes. How important is this distance learning to you, and what are some of the things you guys are kind of working on?
Yeah, distance learning is huge, and I think people need to realize that some of the things we're experiencing right now may be the new norm, even when things even when the virus kind of calms down. I think this could get extended into even next school year, and this may be reality for a bunch of students. So establishing a plan now, making sure that all those kinks are worked out, that they have experience, that students have experience using the technology to be successful is huge right now, especially even though we're entering the summertime. So I think when a pandemic or anything like this, it just it the disparities become more apparent, and people in these communities are deeply affected by this. um, some as simple as not having access to internet. That's something that people take for granted. So the disparities are there, the hardships are there, and it's really trying to figure out how we can best help people throughout this, and not just stay uh, stagnant, but also continue to grow and get better, because this could be a reality for extended period of time.
Yeah, I mean, I put myself in some of their shoes. I can't imagine having to go through that. And you graduated a little while after I did. And even as this goes beyond sports. I can't imagine what it's like for some of these athletes who, scholarship athletes going to the next level, an athlete that isn't scholarship that maybe hope to hear his name for a scholarship to go to the next level and how it affects them. But then just as smaller as something as just the regular academics and whether I'd be able to be in their situation to be able to do distance learning and how difficult that must be.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I've done some online courses throughout my past. I did some online courses. I graduated from Pleasant Grove early, so I took like 3 online classes my senior year to get extra credit, so I could go to Oregon early. And it's definitely tough. I mean, you're at home, and um, there's distractions. It's not a real learning environment. You're at the comfort of your home, and so it's definitely easy for students, I would say, to get disengaged with experiencing this. But we have to find ways to keep them engaged, because, like I said, this could be a reality for an extended period of time. And if students aren't getting the education they need and the experiences they need to be successful in life, then we're doing them a disservice.
You guys have raised a lot of money for in the name of education and distance learning in such a short amount of time. You and Bayside Church, I know that's your church here in Sacramento, over $200,000, and then 50,000 specifically going to students through Mercy Housing. How did that just kind of idea come about, and what do you expect to see from those donations?
Yeah, so with those donations, we'll be able to provide Chromebooks, internet for a year, and educational kits, healthy snacks, books, um, school supplies for students, for 350 students. So that's internet for entire families, and that's not just some of these households have kids in elementary school, middle school, and high school. So some kids will be looking to finish high school. Some students will be looking to for promotion in grades to get to the next grade. So having those resources and having that in their household will make that much easier. And these are simple things. These are things that people should have access to. These are things that students in other communities do have access to. And so this is just a baseline of essential needs for them to be successful in the classroom. So I expect for that to help a bunch, and we're looking to help more students as well. There's more than just 350 students that need these resources in Sacramento. So
I was thinking about this too in terms of just the pandemic. I mean, this is kind of, it's altered everyone's life. You've remained really, really busy, and Zoom is kind of a new normal for you. I mean, you've jumped in, like I said, into classes. You've held your own show, having Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg got to celebrate Mother's Day with your wonderful mother through Zoom, and on the 49ers account, got to go live with her. I mean, what are these little experiences like as you kind of go through and kind of spend the time in a productive way?
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting used to it for sure. I've been doing a bunch of these, and it's pretty positive for me. It's actually given me the ability to do more than I would have if all things being normal. Really, there's definitely more requests for sure, but I think with technology, I've been able to positively impact a bunch of people. Talk to people. Um, try to have impact in their life where things were normal. I'd probably be at practice, or not everybody would be on Zoom. You would have to do these things in person. Like I would have to drive to Sacramento to read to a class, where now everybody's online and we can do it online, and it makes it a lot easier. So I think it's a pretty positive thing for sure, and it's broadened what I could do.
And now you're going to be, I mean, when you jumped into some of these kids, now you're going to be reading to kids online. The story time with Arik, I mean, what do you hope to gain from this? What do you expect from it? And I know it sounded like you're going to have some other prominent people within communities joining you, right?
Yeah, that's the plan, is for other people to get involved. I can't read with every class out there, so hopefully other people of influence and take that as a responsibility to do something similar in their communities, reading with their classes. And really, the thing I hope that comes from this is just engaging students into reading and wanting to work on their reading skills and finding reading fun. And like we talked about earlier, a lot of students are, of course, working from home and being homeschooled by their parents, and it's tough, but I think it's a prime time to work on their reading skills and to engage them into reading, and hopefully create a new hobby there, because I know it'll be super impactful and helpful for their life. There's been studies where young children, if they're not reading at certain levels, the projection of their life is not very successful. So trying to keep students engaged in reading, try to keep their reading levels high. That's going to predicate their future. So that's what I hope to gain from it.
You got a favorite book you'd recommend at the moment?
I've actually been reading a bunch of children's books, or younger books lately. And it's been kind of cool that some of those same books are from when I was young are still popular with youth. So that's been kind of cool, like a blast from the past, kind of experience.
Yeah, back in the day, right?
Yeah, back 20 years ago.
Yeah, you ain't that old. Before I let you get out of here, I know we were talking, how people spend the quarantine, what you watching, what are you playing, what are you reading. I imagine Last Dance is a part of that. Have you been enjoying the Michael Jordan documentary?
Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I'm kind of waiting to they all go online so I can just watch them back to back to back. I don't really like watching shows like waiting a week and then trying to catch it next week. I just want to like binge watch it. So I watched the first 2 episodes though. I liked it for sure, but I'm gonna wait till it all gets online and then try to binge watch it.
Yeah, that's great. You're in for a treat, that's for sure. I don't know how you could put it off. Just got to keep busy, I guess.
Yeah. I have been pretty busy, so I once I miss the week 2 episodes, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just binge watch it when it comes out.
And we mentioned the draft. I mean, you got another guy with Sacramento roots coming in. I guess he'll in Brandon Ayuk. I mean, I know he's really kind of from Reno, but the time he spent in Rockland at Sierra College, he was born there. I imagine he'll probably fit in just really well with all the 916 guys, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, that's great. I mean, over my years with the Niners, we've had a bunch of Sacramento ties, guys from Sacramento, guys that I played with in high school, guys that went to Sac State, guys that went to college in Sacramento, and it's been about 8 of us with Sacramento ties over my short career. So it's been pretty cool to see. Sacramento supports the Niners so well, and I know I take pride in it, but I know the other guys take pride in representing Sacramento in the Northern California area as a whole too.
It's funny too when this all gets over. I know OTAs and stuff like that are something that most players don't really look forward to that much. But I imagine you poll 100% of the NFL, it would probably be in the high 90s for people that were looking forward to it right about now.
Yeah, for sure. I think guys. Our season was long, so I definitely wanted to get away for a minute. Guys get tired of each other, seeing each other every day. But now, that OTAs should have been started back up. Getting back into that routine, guys are definitely getting antsy and wanting to get back out there. I know I am.
Any end in sight? I mean, you guys look at it, and when you guys are having your meetings, you go, man, it's got to be by this time.
Nah, I mean, we only know what everybody else knows, really.
Yeah.
Taking it day by day.
I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. You always have a platform here, especially when you got stuff in the community. Please let me know anytime you have any stuff going on, and can't thank you enough for joining us right here.
Appreciate you, Sean.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, later.
Thanks.